Helstrom has dropped on Hulu, and we have our full spoiler-free review. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and we got our Season 1 review of Helstrom. But first, I wanted to remind everybody, make sure you get in on this month's giveaway. We're giving away this Volume 1 Omnibus of The Boys. In order to get in on the giveaway, all you have to do is be a subscriber, hit like, and leave some sort of comment. Well, it's the death nail in Marvel TV. Now all parts Marvel Studio, Helstrom is the last of the old Marvel before being consolidated into the kingdom of Kevin Feige. Marvel TV under Jeff Loeb had big plans for the future of Marvel horror on TV, and that life was cut short. But before it could be snuffed out, Helstrom managed to sneak through the fiery gates. Now the show is a little bit of a departure from the comics, but quite enjoyable, and is described as, and I quote, Damon and Ana Helstrom are the son and daughter of a mysterious and powerful serial killer. The siblings have a complicated dynamic as they track down the terrorizing worst of humanity, each with their attitude and skills. Now, this really does sum up the show well, but the tales are much more personal to both Damien and Ana than just sort of random baddies as alluded to in the description. The series does dive pretty deep into the Helstrom family from beginning to end. Now, Tom Austin and Sidney Lemon as Damien and Ana Helstrom are pretty well cast. Austin's Damien Helstrom is fairly well done, but a little different than his comic counterpart. In the comic, he's a little more, we'll call it theatrical. However, he does evolve quite a bit over the series, so fans of the comic won't be disappointed. To me, it felt like his power set is so vast that the story is being used to temper it considerably. We do see his character grow in strength and power over the season, and visually he takes a few unexpected beats right from the comic series. Austin does bring Damon to life, but often is a bit low-key, or even maybe dull for my liking, especially while doing quote-unquote serious. Now Sidney Lemon's Ana is great. Kind of sinister, kind of beautiful, kind of dangerous, and utterly magical. I love the space she filled in the show, making it really a Helstrom show and not a Damien Helstrom show. She gets equal time and is equally as compelling. Lemon does a great job and is near perfect for the look. Her character is much darker than her brother, and not what I would call hero material. She carries the part well, and her presence on screen is always pretty strong. Now, the rest of the supporting cast isn't bad either. Ariana Guara, Elizabeth Marvel, Alan Yu, and June Carroll are all great. But I gotta say, I really liked Robert Wisdom's caretaker. I believe he was the tie-together character that would have connected this show to all the rest of those Marvel properties that were being planned for Hulu. Even though this appears to be a done deal now, it feels like we may have missed out something really special with this casting, and it had some serious potential. Now, the show is as isolated from the rest of the Marvel Universe as you possibly could be. Not a single mention of other big MCU events typically name-dropped in Marvel shows. No incident, no blip, no nothing. I suspect this was done to allow for maximum flexibility. The general reaction to quote-unquote superpowers by regular folks is notably absent. So it appears this world is a world with people with powers, or at least people know of their existence. Again, something that could play to the show's advantage should Marvel show future interest. Now, if you do look closely, you may see a couple of Marvel ties. I did notice a couple of Roxxon gas stations in the background, both of which appeared in The Runaways and Cloak and Dagger. Most of the manifestations of the powers, the CGI used, and all the general effects, as well as the sound and music were all great. If you're a fan of The Runaways on Hulu, you know they can nail this, and they didn't disappoint here at all. The lack of comic costumes isn't missed, and honestly, the look Damon has is pretty awesome when it finally manifests. Not full comic, but darn close. Now, the show is pretty dreary most of the time, and it does take full advantage of the Portland setting, and it helps maintain the tone of the show very well. The show is dark and quite gory. It might really not be something for the kiddos, but it was fun. This is definitely not awards material, but as they run through the world of Marvel horror, it isn't bad at all. Many were worried about some of the source material changes, and honestly, they worked. Not only did they work, I'm unsure those changes even happened. The show's synopsis refers to their father, a serial killer. In the comics, they are actually the children of the devil himself. That leap is pretty short from where the series ended in its last episode. Their father very well may be exactly the same as the comics, since we've been introduced to a whole underworld of demonic entities by the end of the season. The last episode. Yeah, that's the catch, right? Will this series continue? Well, that's the 9 layers of Hades question. The series ends on a cliffhanger, and they clearly had more story to share with us viewers. Like we said, if you remember, this show was the last survivor from the Loeb era of Marvel TV, and it appears Kevin Feige does not have any plans for the character. Now, I suppose this really could go either way. If fan response is really strong, it could drive a second season. And me personally, I want one. Maybe it's time for a Save Helstrom hashtag. In any case, I give this rather spooky and October-timed Marvel series a 7.5 out of 10. There is room for improvement, but I really did get way more than I bargained for. Quite honestly, I was counting on this being a death nail, best effort mess. Instead, it went from not bad to a genuinely enjoyable ride. It's not scary, but it's definitely Halloween flavored. So, what did you guys think? Did you check out the first season of Helstrom? And do you think the show has any chance for a second season? Hey, if we can hope for Swamp Thing, we can hope for Helstrom. Sound off in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you press like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.